All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out my channel. So what I want to get into today is something that I realized about myself, that I was more into the experience or experiencing things than I was possessions. And I think a lot of people don't realize this about themselves till it's kind of too late, especially if they start getting in debt or they can't afford to start doing things that they want to do because they've kind of restricted themselves in one way or another. So if you know anything about me, I try to help mainly men live an incredible lifestyle affordably. And I think a lot of people can do this as long as they kind of, obviously learn how to be a little savvier with their money. That doesn't mean be extreme. That doesn't mean you have to invest or become a millionaire or any of this shit. I'm telling you right now, you can live a great life. You may not be able to do everything you want to do. You may not be able to dress exactly the way you want. You may not be able to travel around the world or maybe buy certain things. But until you get that huge money, if that's what you're aiming for, you can still live a great life. And even if you're somebody who says not obsessed with being involved in maybe being an entrepreneur, or somebody that doesn't want to run a company, somebody that doesn't want to kill themselves for the rest of their life or chase that dollar, you can live a great life. I'm telling you, you just have to kind of be a little savvy and figure out specifically what you want. But I'm going to tell you something now regarding me regarding what I went through. I didn't realize this till maybe, say, the last 10 years of my life. And my friend kind of brought it up to me, but it just kind of like blew right past me. And when I was younger, I had a lot of possessions, right? And I didn't do much, but I always loved experimenting. I wanted to do a lot. I think I was just afraid. I was afraid of heights, so I didn't necessarily like taking planes, even though I was okay with it. I was afraid of the ocean. I thought a shark was going to bite me and all this crazy shit. I know I teach confidence to people, which sounds funny now, but those are things I had to get over, and that's one of the reasons I do actually help men with their confidence, is because we do have a lot of fears. But back to me kind of putting myself in a place where even financially, even when I had a lot of money, sometimes when I wanted to do certain things, I couldn't. And again, it wasn't even money. It was maybe because of time. I was so caught up with working, even working out, doing things even when I wasn't working. And then you have children, and you just keep accumulating, say, possessions that you have to maintain or take care of: house, cars, many things. It could be a boat. It could be, the list goes on and on and on. And, you might be somebody, though, who wants to experiment. You want to try to go to different places, different cities, different states, different countries, and all these things. And you can't afford to. I get it 100%. But you might be able to afford to do it if, again, you start making that kind of your priority. If that's truly what you want to do in your life. A lot of people kind of talk out of both sides of their mouth. They kind of want it all, and they want it all quickly. Who the hell doesn't? They want a big house, gated community, mansion, sports cars, maybe, I don't know. Travel around the world, do all this shit. I decided that's what I want to do. Most people I know, and I'm in my 50s, never do it. Talk a lot of shit. They end up buying a lot of things locally, or buying a home that they're restricted. They may buy cars again. They have a lot of kids. They start panicking because they know they have to send those kids to college. I get it. I have kids, the whole thing. The expense of just having kids, insurance, everything in between. So if you're younger, is what I should say, and you want to start going and doing things, do it now. Actually, any age you are, start doing it. You are going to lose time. I meet so many people, friends, family members, colleagues, even my father. His dream was to go to Europe, and he never made it there. To this day, he's 75 years old. He's been all over the United States, even to Jamaica, St. Bart. He goes all over the joint. Can't make it to the one place he always wants to go to. Really never went to Italy, never went to Europe, never went to Greece, never went to Germany, never went really anywhere with the exception of a couple other islands outside North America. Never even went to Canada. And, I also hear a lot of people with, they have immigrant parents or grandparents or whatever the case may be. They want to go back home with them. They wait too long. They pass away. I went through that. I had a couple uncles. My dream was to go to Italy with my uncles, my Italian uncles. And I ended up doing it. it was probably probably the best trip I had in my life, to be honest with you. It was unbelievable. And it was a dream come true. And sometimes, you got to figure out back to if you want to experiment and just travel and do things. Because this is kind of how I see it, though. I had cousins when I was younger that came from pretty wealthy households, and their family had money. And they can travel. They used to even go to Europe and backpack and do all this crazy shit. I'd be like, that's pretty unbelievable. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to go in those hostels and all that bullshit. But I am going to say, if you have that instinct, follow through. Do not let people cut you off. The best education I believe I've ever gotten probably was the last 10 years of my life. I am by no means going to sit here and say how cultured I am by any means, because I know what I'm good at, what I'm not, what I know, and what I don't know. I get it. But I am going to say, when it comes to truly learning about who you are and other things, traveling or experimenting or just doing things that you normally are not doing, you're constantly learning. And I was fortunate the last 10 years really to travel all over North America, including Italy. And I think I visited almost every state, except maybe Montana. But I visited hundreds upon hundreds of states, including Canada, cities, everywhere. And I went to them numerous times. I learned so many different things, not only about food. A lot of people just travel. I'm going to try the foods. I'm going to try, check out the fashion aspect. I get all those things. But really, I was able to stay in places for long periods of time, learning about how them people truly live. And I was in some of these places so long, people thought I lived there. It would be like New York and Boston. I'm from Chicago, so I'm in Chicago. I lived in California too for like 6 years. But I spent so much time in Canada for a while. Edmonton, probably the most, I would say. And I would start hanging out in their little Italies, Toronto, even up in Montreal, Vancouver. People thought I lived there because I would go to their places consistently. I hung out in these little Italy spots. But, back to, sometimes we get obsessed with possessions. And I get we need to have things. You need to have a place to live, right? But if your place that you're living in, I talk about this all the time. You usually, for the most part, now if you're a homebody and you do everything at home, you have a garden, you may do work at home, you have an office, all that's wonderful. But if you are somebody who wants to get out and, just do whatever the hell they want to do, and that was me. I'm very seldom home to this day. I realize I'm spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month to kind of go somewhere, eat once in a while, and sleep. What I like doing is being out, not in. I don't know why. Call me a gypsy. You may be the same way. So I realize too, I'm paying even electric, but all these different types of things. Even a car, say for instance. So I had a car, and I was traveling so much, I just basically gave the car to my mother to use or have or whatever. And I was traveling, so I really didn't even when I was home, I was very seldom using a car. I could just rent a car. And my car payments at that point in time, I think that was a Volvo, so it wasn't that expensive. But I've been in situations where I had a very, 1 or 2 high car payments. What use am I getting out of this? I wasn't really that interested in driving around my town all the time with the same type of car. What I was interested in is flying or going somewhere and then getting a rental car, a different type of car, and then taking off and experimenting and seeing what that's all about. It could be going to a different beach town, urban area, whatever the hell I was doing. I don't care if I was in Vegas. I don't care wherever the hell I was. That's what I was interested in. And I was able to do that through work. I also started to do that on my free time. My girlfriend overseeing like 25 Sephora stores throughout Florida. And as much as I thought I knew Florida, coming here since I was 5 years old, and living here from 18 to 50, with the exception of California, I started visiting all these different towns, and I was amazed. And I started to realize, what am I really about? I am about experimenting and trying things that maybe not anyone else is doing either. So you may have, family members or friends they travel, right? A lot of my friends may be like, yeah, they go to New York for business. A lot of them go to California for business a lot of times. And of course, they may go to different places for conventions and stuff. And a lot of people come and will ask me even, hey, what do you think about, I'm going to stay in this part of the country, I'm going to go there. But usually it's the typical same places. It could be Orlando, right? It could be South Beach. It could be New York, Manhattan. Obviously Boston, you're going to go Boston. If you're going to go to California, I'm going to try, you're going to go to, San Diego, you're going to go to LA, you're going to go up top to San Fran. Okay, if you go to Canada, you're only going to go to Toronto, or you're going to go on the other side, are you going to go to Vancouver? If you go to Hawaii, you're going to go to the Big Island, are you going to go to Honolulu? Go places maybe other people don't go to and experiment. That's the one thing I realized that I love the most. Most of the places I would go to that people would refer me, and I'll use Honolulu for an example, I went there, I'm like, this feels like South Beach to me, with, prettier. But it had a vibe. There's so many people there. Basically, you throw some mountains there, it's pretty damn close, or hills, whatever you want to say. And I live in Florida, so the impact wasn't there. But when I'm in Maui, man, that was legit. And I know people go to Maui, I shouldn't say. But I've also been on many different different places and islands. And don't sell yourself short, man. Be creative when it comes to these type of things. And again, it's the experience, man. If you want to experience things, go experience it. So many people restrict themselves, and I'm gonna wrap it up with this. You may have to go solo. I think what a lot of people go through in their life is always depending on doing something with someone else or getting assurance from someone else. Just go. And I love being in a relationship with my girlfriend. And she'll probably tell you the same thing. She loves going and doing things solo and traveling and everything just as much as I do. We're both secure enough to say that to each other. A lot of times I don't even enjoy certain things with her because I know she's not enjoying it as much as I would. If I'm traveling all over North America, staying in Little Italy type of towns, yeah, she's okay with it, but she doesn't want to eat Italian food all the time. I do, right? Same with her. She may want to go to certain areas and do certain things, eat certain foods, maybe meet up with other people because she's very cultured and traveled all over the damn world, do things with friends, and I'm not interested in that. It even could be a weather thing. Weather may aggravate me, certain cold weather that may not aggravate her. I may be looking just for certain things, and I know if I'm with her, I won't be able to do. And again, you may find friends or other people that you want to do it with, but I will wrap it up again with this one thing. And I learned that at a very young age with movies. I was obsessed with movies my whole life. And I always was waiting for someone to go to the movies with me. And if I didn't get to go to the movies with someone, I didn't go. I was afraid I'd look like a weirdo, a loser going to the movie by myself. My late teens, I met up with a buddy. We were both going to college at Valencia in Orlando. I met him. He's like, dude, go to Dollar Movie Night. Everybody hangs out there. I was like, okay. What's interesting is I ended up meeting my wife there, my ex-wife, through there one time. But I went there, and it was so busy, I lost them. This is before really cell phones were that popular. I might have actually had, no, I just had a beeper. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm at this movie theater. It was jammed, and it was I'll never forget, it was one of my favorite comedians was in a film, and I didn't want to miss it. And so I'm like, should I go in there alone? It's only $1. So I went to the movie by myself. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't I go to the movie by myself? I was so excited. I was in the movie theater by myself. I got to see whatever I wanted to watch. And then I went and saw another movie. Even after that, I was like, what the hell? It's another $1. They escorted us out. Back then, they had to tell you to get out. And then I went right back in. I'm like, why haven't I been doing this, even throughout my teens? That's maybe what you need to go through. So, I more or less went on the experience side than the possession side on this. But don't put yourself in a position where your possessions, especially if you owe a lot of money toward them, restrict you also on the other side from experiencing other things. Because I get, again, you want a certain look, clothes, car, lifestyle at home. I get it. But sometimes if you're not that type of person or you're just bored, you want to make a change, give yourself an option to go. Be free. Go maybe if you're renting a place, if you were going to spend $1,200, $1,500, or $2,000 a month, maybe get a roommate if you're by yourself, and maybe only spend $500, $600, $700. That extra $500 you can contribute towards traveling, things like that. Even your car, if it's too much money, whatever the case may be, maybe consider getting a cheaper car. Maybe just not spending money on a lot of other stupid shit people do, and I do it as well. But I have been able to become a little more frugal and figure out what works for me. And if I want to do something, I have the freedom to do it too. A lot comes down to freedom. That doesn't mean I'm telling you to quit your job by any means. But if maybe the job you have is exhausting you, you're not making a lot of money, maybe get a job, less hours, or get a job where you can incorporate travel into it. These are just things I'm talking about. But, you know, if you're about the experience, go experience it. So many people talk about all this shit they want to do in their lives and where they want to go and how they want to do it, and no one ever does it, or for the most part. Or they just keep going back to the same place that they've already gone to numerous times, even if they have a wife or kids or whatever. They're like, in Chicago, for instance, I got to get out of here. They're back to Orlando. I got to get out of here. Back to Orlando. I'm like, or Marco Island. Or I got to get out of here. I'm like, basically, that's all you do is that. You got to get out of here, then go get out of here. Go figure it out. Your kids don't always have to go with you. You know what I mean? If you want to go to the Boxing Hall of Fame, right? Or the NFL or the baseball or whatever the case may be, go do it. It's not impossible. It's not even that far a lot of times. Go do it. You might just go on a trip by yourself. Experience it. Don't let anybody hold you back from what you want to do, for the love of God. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you get a chance, check out my podcast, The Rich CELENZA Show. What else? If you get a chance, subscribe. I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You got any questions or comments? And a lot of these videos I do, I'm just doing, you know, off the cuff. My mom said, just say you're off the cuff. I'm like, my whole thing's off the cuff. And I'm trying to give people a different perspective on life that I went through, and it's an honest approach. So just want to be genuine. That's all. All right, take care, and I wish you nothing but the best.